Mona, did you know the average American eats about 300 eggs a year? Well, some people here in the tri-state would do that in one sitting just for sport. It's all part of a trend in which so-called Grub Punishers would represent their neighborhood in the Battle of the Bulk. Their tale is another one of those Cincinnati Curiosities.
Eating, or rather eating lots and lots, used to be a popular Cincinnati entertainment. In recent years, Cincinnati has hosted contests for gobbling hot peppers, spaghetti, biscuits and gravy, and hot dogs. But none have grabbed the headlines like the champion eaters of yesterday. Back in the 1880s and 1890s, entire neighborhoods showed up to root for their favorite gourmandizers in competitions of the gullet. They were known as Grub Punishers. The hero of Mount Adams was Pat Marr. One time, Marr followed his friends into a saloon where the proprietor had laid out the customary free lunch of roast beef, cold ham, sliced tomatoes, coleslaw, cheese, pickles, bread, and several other dishes. A wager was made that Marr could not clear the table, but in a very few minutes, all the plates were bare. In 1889, Marr gained renown for devouring 76 eggs, shells and all, at a single sitting. The 6th Street Market butchers promoted John Menzel, who boasted about his prodigious appetite. When a customer called Menzel a liar, a bet was arranged, with wagers mounting into the thousands of dollars. The butchers fired up a grill and challenged Menzel to eat 10 pounds of ham and 60 eggs. The ham and eggs were set down on a butcher stand, steaming hot and rich with grease. Menzel chowed down and never even stopped for the ham bone, crunching it between his teeth, and in just 10 minutes, everything was gone. Menzel was declared the winner and the champion eater of Cincinnati. A peddler named Joe Ruff had a hard time finding a place to live because of his appetite. One landlady threw him out after he ate a dozen of the 20 ears of corn she had cooked for all of her residents. On several occasions, mostly barbets, Ruff ate 50 raw eggs, shells and all. He regularly ate 2 or 3 dozen eggs for dinner. A capacious tummy could save a man from trouble. Ben Kelly walked into a Cincinnati restaurant, sat down, and ordered spring chicken. After polishing off the dish, Kelly ordered another serving of the same, then another, and finally a 4th and a 5th. Well, at this point, the waiter produced a bill, even as Kelly clamored for more chicken. Policemen hauled Kelly to the pokey. When Kelly appeared in court, the judge freed him because it would have cost too much to feed him in jail.
And right now, I want to welcome the man behind these curiosities. He makes them easy to chew for us, the one and only Greg Hand. Greg, thanks so much for talking to us today. And let me dive right in, because I'm curious, how popular were these eating contests? I mean, really?
It is quite fascinating looking through old newspapers just how common this stuff was and how identified with specific neighborhoods. So almost every neighborhood had some trenchermen living down the street that they were so proud of, and they would put them up against other neighborhoods. And probably once a month, for several years, you'd be seeing about some sort of eating contest in the newspapers. Amazing how popular they were.
Now, eating all of that rich, potentially greasy food, did these guys ever suffer any after effects?
Now, I looked into that. The heroes of each neighborhood were mentioned by name and address. And so that enabled me to get in and look up death records. And by and large, these folks lived what appeared to be normal lives at the time. Life expectancy was a little shorter back then than it is today. But I rarely found somebody who died younger than 50 years or so. And so it appeared that whatever they were eating, it must have been good for them.
And what's with all the eggs? Everybody's eating eggs.
Ah, yes. Remember that these contests weren't really about eating. They were about betting. And so if you've got other things in there, like, oh, how many chickens can you eat? Somebody's going to argue, well, he ate 3 chickens, but they only weighed 2 pounds apiece, However, eggs are like currency, all eggs are pretty much the same and you can count them. And so when the betting took place, they threw in ham and chickens and other things to eat, really just to make things interesting. But the real money was on the eggs. And that's why almost all of these contests counted specifically how many eggs each person could eat, and usually with the shells on.
All right, Greg, as always, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you. Looking forward to next time.